The Judith Regan Show, Sirius XM Stars.
This is Judith Regan. I love Lady Gaga so much. And we have a gentleman here who is one of my favorite photographers, if not my favorite photographer. His name is Markus Klinko, and with Indrani, he has produced some of the most iconic photographs. So beautiful, so stunning, award-winning. He's done all kinds of album covers and ad campaigns and major magazine covers, Vanity Fair, Rolling Stone, Harper's Bazaar, Vogue, etc., etc. He was on Bravo. You may remember the TV reality series Double Exposure. And he has a new book called Markus and Indrani, Icons, with Lady Gaga on the cover. What a photo that is. Wow. A warm welcome to you, Markus.
Well, thank you so much for this wonderful introduction.
You're such a creative genius.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm definitely very excited. This book actually came out yesterday, and with books, it's what I learned. I didn't know that there is no hard date. Like when they say the date, that's not necessary. It could have been in the stores a couple days earlier,
sure, or later, whatever. Yeah, when it gets off the truck,
they're heavy and they have them unbox them and stuff. But whatever, it's the week that it's out. And all around the world.
It's virgin.
Wow.
All around the world. And, it's very exciting because this is our first book. It's a career retrospect, and it's the celebration of 18 years
of hard labor.
Very hard labor. Working together with my beautiful partner, who is not here tonight, who is in Paris. We just had a screening of our film at the Centre Pompidou, which is the equivalent of the MoMA, I guess.
Yes. Here. And what's the film?
It's with Daphne Guinness, the short film that we did with Daphne Guinness.
You have some beautiful photos of her in this book.
Right. It's these. Thank you very much. These photos have been taken at the same time that we produced the film for different magazine editorials, and she's a delight to work with. I don't know if you ever met her, but she's
she's pretty amazing.
A very very fascinating woman, very smart and very dedicated to her art and her craft as a fashion icon. I mean, really, that is her role in life, and that's it's not that easy to do. Actually.
No, well, Lady Gaga does that too. I mean,
she does it all. And I think Lady Gaga actually has been very inspired by Daphne Guinness, and I think that we're certainly seeing things that Lady Gaga does that Daphne Guinness did years before. So I think it's interesting.
So let's just, since Lady Gaga's on the cover and there are a number of amazing photos of her in this book, what was the process of working with her like, and how did you decide? How did the photos get art directed?
The process of working with Gaga?
Yeah.
It was actually a very interesting situation because one day in 2009, maybe, we got a phone call. Our agent got a phone call from Hello Kitty, and they said that they seen our work and they wanted to hire us to shoot pictures to celebrate their 35th anniversary. And we got on a conference call. It's how it always happens before shoots, is all the creative teams and everybody that's involved with Hello Kitty. And we brainstormed, and they didn't really envision at first to have any celebrity in the shoot at all. They actually wanted to just work with the symbols, the cat and so forth and so on. And I said, that's kind of not what we do, and that's kind of boring. And why don't we have Lady Gaga? And just out of the blue, came up with that idea. And they said, oh, that's a great idea. Let's make that happen. And you know what? We did make it happen together. And so a photo shoot was scheduled in London. And it was actually captured for our Bravo television show at that time. So probably a lot of people remember it from the TV show. But then Gaga's label turned around and they wanted to use the photos for the reissue of the Fame when, after it became so successful, they did a new edition with more songs and things like that. And so those photos were also part of the album package. And obviously they've been used on magazine covers around the world a lot.
And creatively, how do you come up with the ideas there's so many amazing photos in here.
Thank you.
Lindsay Lohan, I was actually there that night when it took her, I don't know how many hours
Really?
to show up. But those photos are beautiful.
Thank
so
you
beautiful
very
because
much.
they're
I
so
haven't seen it.
they're so authentic, and how you interpret everyone is unique.
That's the fun, that we can take a celebrity and we can choose an environment, an amazing location, and we can send our stylist to Paris or to London and, go to the showrooms of Alexander McQueen or Jean-Paul Gaultier or,
The world
Gucci.
is your palette.
We can get a lot of stuff when we work with people like that we want, and we can put it all together. So, I think I consider myself sometimes like a kid in a
Candy store.
candy store, for sure. I think this is the testimony of a really wonderful life, and I realize it myself as we put this together. How much fun, did we really have during those last 18 years? But then again, there's also, besides the glamour and the creativity, of course, this is very hard work, and it's also sometimes very cutthroat. It's a cutthroat business. A lot of money comes in, a lot of money goes out. It's scary sometimes.
It's very expensive to do
very
these.
expensive job, and you can lose a lot of money and you can make a lot of money. And we recently started producing videos, TV commercials, and the film I mentioned that's been screened at Centre Pompidou 3 days ago. And just last week, we were actually in Los Angeles doing a music video for a new artist, and we were out, in these amazing locations, the burned forests. Imagine the ashes of burned forests, like amazing, beautiful, but wrecks, like everything, the equipment, including
ash.
my eye. I
Yeah,
actually got an eye infection from it, so.
That's the price you pay.
Yes, so it's not like without any dangers. And we, sometimes I hang off of a ladder, or it's very kind of James Bondish sometimes.
I love it.
Beautiful women,
So many beautiful women, One of the photos that I really loved in the book, believe it or not, is the Kim Kardashian photo and Kanye West. And they were very black and white and elegant and counterintuitive. They're so sort of classically beautiful.
Thank you. I think that's what I myself enjoy about those photos, because especially right now, as they're together and they're being photographed so much, I am proud that we chose the simplicity on somebody so over the top and glamorous,
Exactly.
like Kim and Kanye, both of them.
They're the most beautiful photos I've ever seen of each of them.
Oh, well, thank you very much. That means a lot. And they're being photographed a lot. So
Yes,
thank
I
you.
know.
Thank
They're
you very
not,
much.
because, there are a lot of cheesy photos.
Yeah.
These photos are so...
Art, not just
they're-
photographed
they're
like in
just
Us
elegant,
magazine. Yeah.
and the way you did it is so clean and serene.
Thank you. Well, we enjoy working, with different people with different images. Whether it's, for instance, Mariah Carey. I remember in 2005, I guess, 2005, when she had a big, huge comeback album, and coming out of a, not very good period in her career after Glitter and after all sorts of
Divorce
things.
and all personal tragedy.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
She needed nothing short of the iconic image that we were, thank God, able to deliver.
Oh, so beautiful.
And it's great because at this point, L.A. Reid is very famous because he's on the on the TV show and on the X Factor, and so everybody knows L.A. Reid. But at the time, he was just the president of the label, and one of the greatest moments in my career was when we were nervous because, working with somebody, there's a lot of pressure like that. This
You
is
really
a
have to
huge
deliver.
machine behind an artist like Mariah Carey, especially at the height of her career at that time. And when they came into the studio to look at the photos, to choose the photos, I got a phone call and said, L.A. Reid is here too. And I'm like, I hope he's going to like it. And he high-fived me and he says, this is like the best photo I've ever seen, blah, blah. It's going to be 8-story tall on Times Square. And it was a week later.
Wow.
And he high-fived me and he said, if ever you need something, come see me.
That's so
I
nice.
still I've never went to ask. But
in terms of your sort of art direction, do you speak with the artist ahead of time? How does that work? I know every situation is different.
Exactly. You're totally right. Every situation is different. Every artist is different. What we're trying to do as much as possible is to be as open as possible, as flexible as possible, and really let the artists be themselves. We certainly never want to force a performer, a celebrity. They are actresses. These are actresses. These are singers. These are very talented people. These are not models.
Exactly.
I'm not saying that models are not talented, but
it's different.
Those are people with real careers and real skills and very good at what they do, and it's not our job to rape them, quote unquote. In the
creatively,
image.
yeah.
We need to be.
It's a collaboration.
Capturing
Yes.
their essence is what you're doing. Yeah.
And
And
I
that's
think
what he does really well.
that's what people appreciate, and that's what I am proud of. When you look at Lady Gaga in this Hello Kitty ensemble, and with the eyes, the painted eyes and the red ribbon and all that.
I love her so much.
I think it works.
just do.
It works for her, and it works for the brand.
Yeah.
And we would have done something completely different if it had been for a different opportunity. So that's the fun, that these elements float around, and it does get sometimes, those people in the industry that are jealous of our success and that criticize, they say, oh, it's so easy. They got all this money and they got all these celebrities.
That's envy.
And then anyone can do those photos. The truth is, it is actually very difficult to make the right decisions and the right choices, because when you have everything available, decide.
The pressure is only
should
greater.
she be on a pyramid or should she be in a white background? Should she wear jeans?
I think
or,
I should be on a pyramid. What do you think?
You?
Well,
I want to be carried.
why don't we do your promotional photos
that
I
one
think
girl.
you should.
for the radio station?
Seriously.
So that you can be in Icons too when that comes out.
I would love that so much. Are you kidding?
Photograph you on top of Fox is what you should
Riding a tiger. Now, Lindsay
that
Lohan.
would suit you.
It would.
That would.
I would love that.
Yes.
Lindsay Lohan, you chose, obviously there's a lot of retouching and there's a lot of, fantastic stuff. Lindsay Lohan, freckles.
Freckles,
You chose to
yes.
keep her. They're so beautiful.
I mean, first
And
of all,
innocent.
she's got a lot of them, so I do not think we could have, even if we wanted it to,
Yeah.
really, retouch
But I
them.
thought
would
it
have
was
looked
beautiful.
horrible. Well, I think it's beautiful.
I really thought it was beautiful and natural and innocent.
Thank you. I was just asked this question actually yesterday by a reporter, and she said, you guys retouch a lot, and is that your style? And I paused for a second and I thought about the question, and the answer is we do manipulate images, but not only in this one way that people think we do. It's
Sure.
not just the one-dimensional Photoshop.
You're going to make me taller
Okay.
and thinner. I appreciate that on the tiger.
You look very good right now. I don't believe
I'm
in.
nearing 60.
You're beautiful, Judith.
You look amazing,
Seriously.
and I don't believe in anorexic models.
I
at
don't
all.
either.
It's not cool to
No.
me.
No.
No,
As a
no.
matter of fact, it's an abomination. I think I've been saying that in interviews a lot. I feel that the fashion industry is really doing a great disservice
Yeah.
to young women and to
No,
women
you're
in
right.
general.
Yes.
Because that obsession with 6 feet tall girls that weighed 80 pounds,
so
that are
wrong.
13 years old and come
Unhealthy.
somewhere out of
And their
Siberia
bones are
or
breaking
whatever.
by the time they're
Who
30.
cares about that look? Who
I know.
finds that attractive? I
don't.
certainly don't. And maybe that is why we have shifted our career towards celebrity photography as opposed to just be your fashion guy. Like when I started out, and even before I met Indrani, and I met her very early in my endeavor as a photographer, but I only wanted to shoot models. But then, my taste has changed, and I really find real women more attractive. And
You've
ask-
matured as an artist.
I think, I'm just...
Grown.
Yeah, and I think that women with curves and women with real bodies and with real brains are just more attractive than skeletons.
Yeah. That's a good thing.
No,
It
he's right.
is.
He's right.
Now, Marcus, you started life as a musician.
Yes, that is correct. I almost sort of call it my other life, because it is a very different lifestyle. I grew up I'm born in Switzerland. I grew up in a house where classical music was very big. My father was a professional symphony orchestra musician. I started piano at 3. I didn't like it, but then around 7 or 8, fell in love with the classical guitar, and then as a young teen, switched to harp. Out of all instruments, out of all the,
Well, it's
it's
so
the weirdest
beautiful.
thing.
Now,
It's
there's,
very-
the harp to me
Yeah,
is
it's
the
beautiful.
pinnacle.
But people, it's rare. Within the classical music industry, which is already a very small niche market of the music industry in general, the harp in itself is a tiny, tiny, tiny niche,
I know. But
within the classical industry. But I decided to become a concert harpist, and I studied at the conservatory in Paris, and I began a career as a concert soloist, signed a record contract with EMI Virgin Classics. I was the only classical harpist in the world at that time to sign that. And there's an interesting parallel, and I just thought about this today. Yesterday, as this book came out all over the world, it did remind me in a certain way of, that fall in 1992, when my first recording with EMI came out, and I had to go to Tower Records at the time that they were still existed.
right.
And reps from EMI escorted me there, and there was a signing, and there were posters and all that. And today, this is what 20 years, pretty much
To the
exactly
day.
to the day later. Indrani and I are celebrating the release of this book, which is 18 years of our best work in it. And so that's interesting,
It is.
That-
It is.
that's
And there are
fun.
parallels. Creative people are so amazing, and the creative mind is so fascinating to me. And people who have that musical ability and are able to move from one art to the next, to a different art form, it's such a great gift to be able to do that and to bring all this beauty into our lives. I really think that artists save the world.
Well,
I really believe
I
that. They
like
bring
to believe that
beauty
too.
and elegance to our civilization. They make life meaningful.
Thank you.
Makes us confront our emotions and our inner being by looking at art. A lot of
Th-
people don't want to do that.
Thank you very much. And I do agree with that. And as a matter of fact, I often explain that in order to do my work well, I almost have to shield myself sometimes from the nonsense. I can't do paperwork and
I know.
be a good accountant and worry about money and worry about this and that. I really depend on a team around me. And,
Like
today-
every artist
today I
who's a
brought,
true
I brought
artist.
3 of my wonderful members of the people that surround us here and there. That, I want to thank them, and I want to thank everyone that has in the last 18 years contributed to
Yeah. To helping you to
yes.
accomplish
and,
this.
And there were sometimes large crews because it takes agents, it takes managers, it takes
It
assistants,
takes a lot.
retouchers, makeup artists, hairstylists, stylists,
Yeah.
prop stylists.
Yeah. There's a lot of work that goes into it. Now, I noticed you have Channing Tatum in here, who just got voted today.
Oh, the sexiest man alive.
Sexiest man
Right.
alive, according to
Wow.
People magazine. Now, you photographed a lot of men.
Some, not as many.
Would you call Channing Tatum the sexiest man alive?
I'm the wrong person to ask that.
I wouldn't. Although you do have quite a sexy picture of him in here, I have to say.
I think he looks great. I think he was a nice guy. I have a hard time sometimes, when women say, "Oh, this guy is so hot." I don't really know. Okay, whatever. I don't know. I'm not jealous, but it's
Yeah.
I don't feel it. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
like making me like.
The other photo, I
Neither do
love
I.
Janet Jackson, the black and white photo.
Well, that
the
was
texture was so beautiful.
that was a great day.
Oh,
I tell you what. So I was very excited about shooting Janet, because of course, to my great disappointment, we've never shot Michael, unfortunately.
yeah.
But the day that we got the call to shoot Janet, and I remember seeing her at the studio, meeting her, and it was quite surreal, because she looked amazing, and she was sitting a little bit in the shadow, a few feet away from me, and she was just smiling, and she looked exactly like she just stepped out of a video from 1984 or something like that. And that's in 2007. That's a few years ago. So it's amazing how some artists just really are able to keep their use because of what they do,
Yeah.
because they're
No,
happy.
that's true. Absolutely true.
And
Just like you.
well, thank you.
Like you too, Judith.
Well, I don't know about
Like
that.
all of us.
Now, if who would you like to photograph? Who's
I
on your wish list?
very much would like to photograph the Obamas.
Yes,
Very
the whole
much.
family.
The whole
Yeah.
family, any of them, either Michelle by herself or the president by himself, or the two of them, very much so. And I would love to photograph Madonna. She's the big missing picture in this book. Of course, we have a lot of other
James, you
great
can
ones.
arrange that. James has a connection there.
Oh, great! Thank you, James.
He
I'll
was
call
just
you.
at the Madonna concert last night, right? Yeah, sitting in front with her children.
That's
He's so
great.
connected.
Oh,
Well, she belongs in the next book, because
She does.
we do have these great stars of today, starting with Gaga and everyone from Beyonce to
And who of the deceased celebrities would it be? Michael Jackson,
Marlon Brando, very much so.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated with that speech that beautiful Apache Indian girl gave.
Sure, the Academy Awards.
The Academy Award. I've been studying that speech. I watched it like 100 times, and I wanted to do a fashion story about that whole. I think what he did was so incredibly cool.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't accept
and he was the
award.
first one to do it. You know,
he didn't accept the award, and he boycotted the award, and he found this beautiful Apache girl, and he sent her out there, and she ruined her career over this. I read
Really?
all of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
maybe you should do a documentary about it.
Well, I'm really interested in this whole thing. So I would have loved to shoot him. Jimi Hendrix would have been fantastic. You know.
Yes.
Amazing talent.
There are other great ones. You know, we worked with David Bowie, and we worked with some of the members of the Rolling Stones, but we have never shot Mick Jagger. He'd be a great one to shoot.
Now is the time. Now is the time. Their 50th anniversary this year. They're launching their concert tour.
But then there's new people that, you know, hopefully we're going to be shooting very soon. Nicki Minaj, we're talking
That's a
to
great
them.
one.
That's a great one. So, you know, I mean, a lot of people come up, and a lot of people, the classics are, you know, in this book, what's great is that over the last 10 or 12 years especially, we've been given that opportunity. You mentioned Channing, you know, for instance, to shoot these up-and-coming artists that now are the biggest stars in the world.
Exactly.
And that's sometimes an advantage when you catch them early, because their publicists are a little bit more relaxed, and they're not so much like can't
and
do
they're
this,
thrilled
can't
to
do
have
that.
you.
And they have fun, you know.
Yeah.
So
there you go. Well, it's a beautiful book. It's called Icons. Markus Klinko. Thank you so much for being here. And Markus and Indrani are the authors. 18 years of their gorgeous, beautiful photographs. And what an artist you are.
Oh, thank you so much.
I pay homage to you.
Thank
I bow
you
to
very,
you,
very
my
much.
dear. You are the real thing.
Oh, thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you for being here.
Of course.
This is Judith Regan. We're going to take a break, and we'll have more when we come back. Don't go away.